Chapter 71. In the late stage of Zang refining, Wang Kun did it. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After finishing things on Tao Ji's side, not long after, Luo Chuan blasted him out of Qingshi town. Eating people, that's the bottom line. If they had never eaten anyone, the Luo family wouldn't mind taking over the remaining 2,000 soldiers under Tao Ji's command, but I ate people. The situation is somewhat different. The following days, Qingshi town is still extremely peaceful. Outside Qingshi town, in Huaishui County, the Tang family, a grain merchant, the Chen family, an established family, and the Huai River King Fengwentai, there is a constant struggle with each other. However, no matter how these three parties fight, they have never been able to affect Qingshi town, which is located on the border of Huaishui County. It may also be because Qingshi town is weak. As a result, the three parties did not take Qingshi town and the Luo family seriously. Then, under these peaceful years, in the blink of an eye, several days passed. Qingshi town, the land of the Luo family, in a courtyard exuding a quaint atmosphere, Luo Changfeng, the ancestor of the Luo family, was sitting cross-legged in an open space. His eyes were closed tightly. There is a powerful aura brewing on his body. After these days of practice and additional points, Luo Changfeng's cultivation has reached the critical point between the middle stage of Zang refining and the late stage of Zang refining. There is only one final step away from the late stage of Zang refining. Later stage of Zang refining, broken. As a hotter energy and blood gradually grew in Luo Changfeng's body, it gradually flowed. The aura in his mid-stage Zang refining stage gradually began to change. The power in his body gradually transformed with the passage of time into the power of qi and blood in the late stage of Zang refining. Is this the power of the late stage of Zang refining? Luo Changfeng stood up silently. He slowly opened his slightly cloudy eyes and exhaled a breath of slightly cloudy air. He couldn't help but nodded with satisfaction. It seems that since his cultivation reached the state of Zang refining, even a small breakthrough can bring him great improvement. Just like him now, if he met him before, it's probably not difficult to fight three of them one at a time. Since this cultivation level has also broken through. Next, it's time to study the refining of the talisman on hand. The success rate of refining this talisman is still a bit too low after all, so I need to mention it a little bit. In addition to the talisman, I also need to refine a few more red flame pills. That little girl Luo Yue should be running out of supplies soon. The Jingxin pill is quite useful. But it's not a bad thing to refine a few more bottles and prepare them. Luo Changfeng was thinking as he walked under the stone pavilion minding his own business. He casually picked up a book, Introduction to Talismans, on the stone table and started to read through it. Time flies. This look brought me directly to the middle of the night. At this time, a crescent moon hung high in the sky. The temperature outside is slightly cold. It is done. I am done. Sir, my lord, I succeeded. Just as Luo Changfeng was immersed in the ocean of knowledge about talismans, waves of strange screams suddenly sounded in his ears one after another. Luo Changfeng heard the sound, so he put down the book Introduction to Talismans in his hand. He looked towards the source of the sound. As a result, all he saw was a skinny, unshaven, gray-haired old man who looked very embarrassed. He never saw any other people again. Where did this guy come from? Who? Looking at the figure next to him, Luo Changfeng felt a little strange, but also felt a little familiar. It was as if I had seen it somewhere before. Sir, it's done. I'm done. I have done everything you asked for. I have achieved the quality of the elixir and the success rate of the elixir. I have achieved it all. The gray-haired old man said with a wry smile as he trotted towards Luo Changfeng's direction. Wang Kun. After looking at it carefully for a long time and thinking about it in my mind, Luo Changfeng gradually recalled the memory of the person in front of him. Just about a month ago, he did seem to give Wang Kun a chance to survive. At first, that's what he seemed to say. As long as you can create a certain value for the Luo family of Qingshi town, as long as the quality and success rate of the elixir you refine can satisfy me, then, I will allow you to continue to live in this world. Well, that's right, that's probably what he said back then. However, just when Luo Changfeng was about to forget about the person in front of him, Wang Kun appeared again, and it seems that he has fulfilled all his original requirements. Okay, I know these things. You, please step back first. Next, as long as you don't act recklessly, you will be safe in the Luo family. Luo Changfeng gradually calmed down the fluctuations in his heart. He said to the Dr. Wang Kun in front of him. Oh, no, he should be called Alchemist Wang Kun now. Many, thank you, sir. With tears in his eyes, Wang Kun kowtowed 3 times in front of Luo Changfeng. He ran out of the yard in a hurry. In the courtyard, Luo Changfeng looked at Wang Kun's gradually leaving figure. His eyes couldn't help but flashes of light. Judging from his current abilities, Wang Kun's existence is obviously somewhat repetitive and redundant, but if you let it be used as a money-making tool. If you help the Luo family of Qingshi Town continue to earn wealth, this is actually a pretty good thing. There is just one thing that is a headache. The value of gold and silver has depreciated significantly in recent times. Luo Changfeng was thinking, if they wait until the gold and silver are completely worthless, what currency should they use as the carrier of the economy? Is it really just a matter of bartering? This is a bit too troublesome. What happened to Wang Kun was just a small episode. The Luo family in Qingshi Town is still running at a high speed. The resettlement of the refugees is definitely a top priority for the Luo family who want to expand their power. In addition to the resettlement of refugees, recently, there is another particularly important matter that needs to be dealt with by the Luo family. That is the planting of crops at the beginning of spring. Nowadays, although winter is not completely over yet, but as time goes by, the coldest winter among the 4 seasons has gradually passed. The temperature outside is gradually getting warmer. If you don't take advantage of this moment to prepare well, at that time, if you want to plant crops at once, you will be really busy. In addition to the need to cultivate large areas of farmland and prepare to plant a new round of crops, Luo Yong is also discussing a major matter. Although the expansion of the army has stopped, army training continues every day. Armor, weapons, bows and arrows. The Luo family has already supplied supplies to the army. Previously, because the amount of training was not very sufficient, Luo Yong had been in a dormant state. Now the amount of training has gradually increased, and Luo Yong will often drag the army out to suppress bandits and let the army see blood. So, after all kinds of ideological struggles, Luo Yong finally made up his mind. That's when the temperatures get a little warmer. He then dispatched a large army to directly surround a town near Qingshi Town, and forcibly captured the town that did not belong to the king of Huaishui, the Tang family, a grain merchant, or the Chen family, an old family in Huaishui County. In this way, while expanding the Luo family's territory, it also completed Luo Yong's army training. This is really like killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Chapter 72 Huangqu Town, Huang Family Immortal. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Time flies by like a white horse. In a blink of an eye, it has come to the end of winter. At this time, even in the early morning, the temperature outside is already much higher than at the beginning of winter. Although the biting cold is still there, but at least it won't be so cold that it becomes unbearable. Qingshi Town, the land of the Luo family, in the courtyard where the head of the Luo family lives. Luo Ping is the current head of the Luo family. At this moment, it is still as usual. Sitting quietly on the main seat processing the stacks of trivial documents as high as mountain peaks, very tired, really tired. Sometimes things can be handled with 1 head and 2 big ones, but there is no way. Who made him the head of the Luo family? Some things that are his, he cannot be avoided. Father. Just as Luo Ping was processing the documents at hand, Luo Chuan suddenly walked in from outside the room. Father, do you know about third uncle's affairs? Your third uncle? Luo Ping glanced at his son Luo Chuan in front of him. He pondered for a moment and then whispered, you mean, your third uncle plans to send troops to attack the nearby Huangqu town? Luo Chuan nodded silently and walked in the direction of Luo Ping. Huangqu town is located near our Qingshi town. Due to the extreme poverty in the town, it is jointly managed by the 3 major families in Huangqu town. It is not paid attention to by the Tang family, the grain merchants in Huaishui County, the Chen family, the old family, and the prince. Uncle Yu, if you want to take action against Wang Xuzhen, just let him do it. Luo Ping lowered his head slightly and dealt with the complicated matters at hand while talking. Father, now that you know this, then do you know the real reason why Huangqu town is not paid attention to by the 3 parties? Isn't it because Huangqu town is extremely poor? Luo Ping raised his head slightly and said with some surprise. That's not the case. Luo Chuan shook his head calmly, and then said, the main reason why Huangqu town is not paid attention to by the three parties is because the Huang family, one of the three major families in Huangqu town. According to rumors, about 300 years ago, the ancestors of the Huang family seemed to have an immortal. Is there any immortal? Is this rumor true or false? Luo Ping asked. I'm not very clear about this. As for whether the rumored immortal has died, I don't know any of this information. So, in order not to get into trouble, Huangqu town has gradually become a town headed by the Huang family, supplemented by the other two major families, and jointly governed by the three major families. Chuaner, you suddenly came to see me today, do you want our Luo family to stop attacking Huangqu town? No. Luo Chuan shook his head again, and he whispered calmly, I am here just to make my father be a little more polite to the Huang family. Some things can be believed to exist, but others cannot be trusted to exist. Is that so? Luo Ping heard this and nodded silently, okay, I understand. Father, after finishing this matter, I will leave first. Well, please step back. Qinshi town is located on the border of Huaishui County, Huangqu town is located not far from Qinshi town, because of the Huang family. In addition, Huangqu town is already extremely poor, that's why the Tang family, the grain merchants, the Qin family, the old family, and Wanya Fengwentai, the three parties, don't care about Huangqu town. But with the rapid rise of the Luo family in Qinshi town, as the Luo family of Qinshi town gradually began to look covetously at Huangqu town, there are hundreds of thousands of people in Huangqu town. Suddenly, some started to panic. Head of the Huang family, what do you think should be done about the Qinshi Zhenluo family? Huangqu town, the place where the Huang family lives, is in a hall filled with people. As the head of the Wu family, one of the three major families in Huangqu town, at this time, he was speaking anxiously to Huang Baidao, the head of the Huang family. Head of the Huang family, please think of a way. If we let the Luo family's army in Qinshi town, they could just surround Huangqu town. Then this huge Huangqu town still belongs to our three major families. Isn't it possible that your name will be changed to Luo? In the hall, beside Huang Baidao, as the head of the Bai family, another of the three major families in Huangqu town, he kept urging anxiously. Head of the Huang family. Head of the Huang family. Head of the Huang family. As the crowd's urging gradually became louder and louder, as the current head of the Huang family, Huang Baidao finally couldn't bear it anymore, he stretched out his hand and slammed the wooden table in front of him. He even smashed a huge hole in the wooden table in front of him. What to do? What to do? What to do? What can I do? The Luo family holds at least 30,000 troops, and they are all elite troops wearing armor. Even if you don't talk about the 30,000 troops, the Luo family also has an ancestor who is in the Zang refining realm. If the Luo family really wants to take over Huangqu town, who among us can resist? Who dares to resist? Is it your Wu family or your Bai family? Huang Baidao stretched out his hand and pointed at the two family heads beside him, and when the two family heads were pointed at, it seems that besides burying his head lower, I can no longer do anything else. Everyone outside is saying that 300 years ago, my Huang family's ancestors had an immortal. It doesn't matter whether this matter is true or false. You should all admit that the ancestor of the Zang refining realm in the Luo family is true, right? In a small place like Huaishui County, you should all know what kind of monks in the refining Zang realm exist, right? Let alone Huaishui County, even in the entire Luoshan mansion, the status of monks in the refining Zang realm is first-rate. In front of such a terrifying monk, the Tang family, the big grain merchant, the Qin family, the old family, and the king of Huaishui didn't dare to push the Luo family too hard. As a result, now you all want my Wang family to stand out. My Wang family doesn't want to die yet. Obvious, the deliberations among the major families in Huangqu town broke up somewhat unhappily, under the constant approach of the powerful enemy Luo family, various families in Huangqu town, who has the courage to confront him head-on. Dad, everyone is gone. A somewhat dark, somewhat empty hall, a young man suddenly appeared next to Huang Baidao. The young man's surname was Huang Mingzeng, he is the current young master of the Huang family. Gone, everyone is gone. Huang Baidao glanced at his son Huang Zeng beside him, and he nodded with a smile. Dad, are the rumors from the outside world true or false? Did our ancestors of the Huang family really give birth to immortals? Huang Zeng hesitated for a moment, but finally couldn't hold back and asked. Does it matter whether a fairy was born or not? My son, the most important thing now is the present, not the illusory rumors. Even if our ancestors of the Huang family really gave birth to immortals, so what? In front of the powerful Luo family, distant water cannot quench the near thirst. He who knows the current affairs is a hero. Chapter 74. The Luo family is difficult to deal with. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Regarding the arrival of people from the Luo family, Huang Baidao was not surprised by this, whether it's because of the rumors of immortals or because the Huang family is the last big family left in Huangqu town. Head of the Huang family. I heard that immortals once appeared in your ancestors of the Huang family. Is this true? Luo Yong was led by Huang Baidao. I walked around casually in this huge Huang family land, until, after everyone left for a while, Luo Yong, who was the commander of the army, chose to ask aloud. It's just his problem, but it attracted different looks from everyone. The deputy generals and soldiers beside Luo Yong had curious looks in their eyes. Luo Qingshan frowned slightly. He silently looked at his father beside him with a somewhat strange look. That look seemed to be saying, Dad, are you always so direct when asking questions? Can't we take another roundabout way? It's just a rumor, don't take it seriously. Huang Baidao bent down slightly, said with a smile. Rumors? Luo Yong couldn't help but narrowed his eyes slightly when he heard this. He glanced at Huang Baidao beside him, then he looked at the young man beside Huang Baidao, Huang Zeng. Luo Yong was obviously not particularly satisfied with the answer to this question, but, since everyone in the Huang family has said so, what else can he do? Then the bento is just a rumor, right? Luo Yong said as he walked forward. As he walked, he seemed to remember something. Once again, he whispered to Huang Baidao beside him, head of the Huang family, what are your plans next? Continue to develop in Huangqu town. Oh, by the way, there is something I think I need to talk to the head of the Huang family. I don't care about the rules of other forces. But my Luo family does not allow other family forces to control land and some important resource industries. So. In the Huang family, before Luo Yong could finish speaking, Huang Baidao smiled and nodded in agreement. The Huang family has heard about this a long time ago, don't worry, sir. Later, the Huang family will hand over all the land deeds and some properties that are not allowed to be held. After Huang Baidao and Luo Yong exchanged words with each other, not long after, Luo Yong led his people and left the Huang family. Dad, are the Luo family bullying people too much? Even the Gale dynasty didn't have so many rules. After seeing people from the Luo family gradually leaving, Huang Zeng, the young master of the Huang family, had endured this for a long time. Finally he couldn't hold back the anger in his heart. He couldn't stop talking and complained in a low voice to his father Huang Baidao in front of him, land, and those resource industries, but this is all the result of hundreds of years of hard work by the Huang family. Now the Luo family just opened their mouths and wanted to ask the Huang family to hand over everything in their hands. Isn't this a bit too much? How can I not know whether the Luo family is bullying others? But in front of the Luo family like this, what can you do? Refuse the Luo family's request under pressure? Are you always going against the Luo family? In the end, the Luo family forced them to implement these policies. Huang Baidao looked at the direction in which Luo Yong, Luo Qingshan and the soldiers were retreating. He couldn't help but sigh slightly and whispered, when the situation is weak, a little tolerance is inevitable. As long as you can live, there is hope for everything. If you die, then you really have nothing. Zenger, you should understand these principles. Huang Baidao's voice slowly echoed in the courtyard. Huang Zeng heard what his father said. He couldn't help but lowered his head slightly in shame. What my father said was indeed correct. As long as a person is alive, there is hope for everything. If a person dies, then there is really nothing left. Facing the Qingshan Luo family, he was still a little too emotional after all. he should be more rational and think more about the people in his family. As time flows, in the blink of an eye, another day passed. Luo Yong stayed in Huangqu town for a while. He left behind 3,000 soldiers, and quietly withdrew from Huangqu town with his army. Military expansion or something? Luo Yong felt that the number of 30,000 regular troops and 20,000 reserve troops was sufficient. There is no need to continue to expand the army for the time being. However, Luo Yong felt that the training of the army was still not enough. Just attacking a population of only a few 100,000 people, the number of soldiers was less than 5,000, the city wall is not that tall or thick. The Luo family directly lost 1,000 soldiers, although this loss is not very large, but for Luo Yong, a lot can be seen. Since Luo Yong withdrew from Huangqu town, after the city gate of Huangqu town was opened again, there is news that the Luo family of Qingshi town successfully captured Huangqu town. Soon, it spread throughout Huaishui county. Although the area of Huangqu town is not large, the population is not large either. But just such a piece of news shocked the three forces in Huaishui county who were constantly fighting against each other. Huaishui county, the residence of the Prince of Huaishui. In a rather unique small courtyard, an old servant was hurriedly rushing towards the direction where Huaishui King Xuanhuan Tower was said to be. Your Majesty, Huangqu town was captured by the Luo family of Qingshi town. The old servant swallowed his saliva and hesitated for a moment. After all, he finally told the news to Xuanhuan Tai. Huangqu town. Is that the town where the Huang family is located? Is it the Huang family whose ancestors are said to have had immortals? That when Xuanhuan Tai heard this, he suddenly pulled off the book covering his face. After sitting up suddenly, he seemed a little surprised. Yes. The old servant nodded silently. What does the Qingshi Zhenluo family want to do? You dare to touch such a hot potato? Don't they really want to think about why no one has touched Huangqu town? Xuanhuan Tai frowned slightly and said helplessly, it's just a question about Fenghuan Tai. The old servant beside him could not give any answer. Forget it, don't think about Huang Quzhen and the Huang family. Right now, it seems that what is more important than the Huang family in Huangqu town is the Luo family in Qingshi town. Expand the army and expand Qingshi town. I can tolerate all this. After all, we are on our own 1/3 of an acre of land in the Luo family. But what does the Luo family mean by sending troops to capture Huangqu town? Are you showing off your power to me, or are you announcing to all the forces in Huaishui county that the Luo family also wants to participate in the world of chasing deer? As he thought about it, Xuanhuan Tai couldn't help but feel a little headache. If the Luo family of Qingshi town is just an ordinary family, then that's it. He, King Fenghuan Tai of Huaishui, has countless ways to crush the Luo family to death. But now, the biggest problem is, in the Naluo family, there is a family force that is a genuine monk in the Zang refining realm. How lofty is the status of a monk in the refining Zang realm in Huaishui county? If he were not careful, he would have angered the Zang refining realm monks of the Luo family. Even as the king of Huaishui, he probably doesn't have much to offer. Chapter 75 Food supply is cut off. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Except for the Huaishui King Xuanhuan Tower, the Tang family, a large grain merchant in Huaishui county, and the Qin family, an established family, these two forces have gradually begun to pay attention to the Luo family in Qingshi town. The Luo family used to be located on 1/3 of an acre of land. No matter how hard the Luo family tried, they could not affect the fight between the Tang family, the Qin family, and the Huaishui king. But now, with the Qingshi Zhenluo family becoming more and more powerful, even after directly taking over the entire Huangqu town, the Luo family's threat to everyone gradually came to the fore. Whether it is the king of Huaishui, the Tang family, a grain merchant, or the Qin family, an established family, they can no longer ignore the Luo family of Qingshi town. After all, Huaishui county is only so large, there are so many cakes in Huaishui county. The division among the three forces is already not enough. If there is another Qingshi Zhenluo family at this time, the profits that can be divided among the three parties, it will inevitably become less and less. This is unacceptable to them. Your Majesty, regarding the Luo family in Qingshi town, that the place where the Huaishui prince's residence is located, in a rather unique courtyard, the old servant was bending slightly and asking in a low voice. There is no need to pay attention to the Luo family for the time being. We just need to pay a little more attention to the Luo family. I want to see what else the Luo family can do next. After saying that, Feng Wentai closed his eyes again. He put the book in his hand back on his face. After the strong rise of the Luo family in Qingshi town, the situation in Huaishui County gradually became more and more chaotic. The Tang family, a grain merchant, and the Qin family, an old family. These two family forces have already caused Huaishui King Feng Wentai a headache, and now, there is another Luo family who is extremely troublesome and difficult to deal with. I have a headache, I have a headache. Yes, Your Majesty. The old servant saw that his prince did not seem to have any intention of attacking the Luo family easily, so, he lowered his head slightly to signal. He turned around and silently left this unique courtyard, because there is an ancestor from the refining Zang realm who is in charge of the Luo family. In addition, there are some special characteristics of the Luo family. Therefore, after the Luo family captured Huangqu town, still didn't receive much harassment, the king of Huai River, and the Qin family, in addition to paying more attention to the Luo family in Qingshi town, these two forces did not attack the Luo family easily. On the contrary, it was the Tang family, a large grain merchant with countless grains. In recent days, a series of operations have been carried out on the Luo family in Qingshi town. The Tang family, a large grain merchant, directly cut off all grain supplies to Qingshi town and Huangqu town. Such behavior may not have any impact on the Luo family in a short period of time. However, as time continues to pass, as the number of refugees in Qingshi town and Huangqu town gradually increased, the Tang family, a grain merchant, used a series of methods against the Luo family in Qingshi town. It will eventually become the most effective behavior to curb the development of the Luo family. Qingshi town, the land of the Luo family. In a courtyard exuding bursts of quaint charm, Luo Changfeng, the ancestor of the Luo family, at this time, he was sitting under a stone pavilion. He was holding a book titled, Introduction to Talisman, in his hand and was reading it slowly, and the little guy Luo Chuan stood silently next to him. At this time, he was silent and stood beside Luo Changfeng without saying a word. You kid, you suddenly came to my place, but what happened? You can't just sit around doing nothing. Why don't you come and see me, an old man? Luo Changfeng glanced at the little guy next to him, Luo Chuan, who looked a little immature. He calmly put down the book in his hand. Then, he lifted his collar. He whispered to Luo Chuan beside him. Ancestor Changfeng, Huangqu town was captured a few days ago. In Huangqu town, among the three major families, the Wu family and the Bai family have been completely exterminated due to their actions that hindered our Luo family. Luo Changfeng nodded silently, thought for a moment and then asked, what about the Huang family? The Huang family is wise and has not participated in the behavior between the Wu family and the Bai family from the beginning. Therefore, the Huang family survived quite smoothly. Luo Chuan whispered. Did the Huang family survive successfully? Luo Changfeng nodded silently, seemed to have thought of something, and then asked aloud, You kid, are you here to look for me just for this matter? It shouldn't be so. Facing ancestor Luo Changfeng's inquiry, Luo Chuan sighed slightly, and then he revealed his purpose. Ancestor Changfeng, it was precisely because of that Huangqu town was captured by our Luo family. It is precisely because our Luo family has appeared in the sight of the three parties in Huaishui County. The Tang family, which owns countless fertile fields and controls countless grains, has begun to cut off the food supply to our Qingshi town and Huangqu town. For a short period of time, it doesn't matter. But if this goes on for a long time, I'm afraid there will be problems. Luo Changfeng asked, So, this is what you want to say? Luo Chuan nodded silently, and then fell into silence. How much food is left in the family granary? How long can we provide the use of Qingshi town and Huangqu town? As they walked into the courtyard, the two of them were silent for a moment. Luo Changfeng was the first to break the silence of this moment. If the clan's surplus food is used to provide the people in Qingshi town and Huangqu town at this stage, it will last about half a year. But if so, the people in Qingshi town and Huangqu town will continue to improve at the current speed. The food storage within the clan may only be able to support 3 months at most. 3 months. Luo Changfeng nodded silently. The expression on his face also became slightly heavier at this moment. if things really go according to what this little guy Luochuan said, Qingshi Town, where their Luo family is located, and Huangqu Town, which was just captured by the Luo family, it is indeed difficult to continue to grow and develop. Moreover, the expenses for those 3 months. It is estimated that it is calculated based on the best-case scenario, if the chaos of the Gale dynasty continues, and the major forces continue to fight against each other, the war will become more intense. The number of refugees is increasing every day. Judging from the food inventory in the Luo family, it is estimated that they will not be able to sustain it for even 3 months. This matter is indeed a bit troublesome. For the current plan, we can only sprinkle out as much gold and silver as possible and collect all the food that can be collected on the market. We will consider things in the future slowly. Then there is land reclamation and food cultivation. Next, we have to put it on the agenda a little bit. If everything goes well, our Luo family in Qingshi Town can complete the first round of harvesting of food before the food in stock is exhausted. And if it really lasts until that time, it should be able to slightly alleviate the pressure on food. Chapter 76. After a severe drought, there will be a catastrophe. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After chatting with my ancestor for a while, the little guy Luochuan stood up silently. I left this courtyard that exuded ancient charm. The humidity in the air seems to be gradually getting drier. Looking at Luochuan's leaving figure, Luo Changfeng suddenly narrowed his eyes slightly. He opened his hands and silently felt the dry breeze coming towards him. In his slightly squinted eyes, his expression couldn't help but become more solemn. Since then, his cultivation has reached the realm of organ refining, which is above bone refining. He became more and more sensitive to changes in the environment. If it were in the past, the air would be drier. It doesn't seem like a big deal, but now. The Gale dynasty has been experiencing severe drought for several years. Rainfall is falling every year, and grain production is plummeting every year. Because Qingshi Town is located on the side of Huai River, in the past few years, the Luo family in Qingshi Town and the cities near Huaishui County did not need to be paid too much attention to. But the situation seems to be a little different now. A severe drought is often followed by a major disaster. There won't be a disaster like a locust plague this year, right? If that's the case, then things will be even more troublesome. Along with Qingshi Town, Huangqu Town, after the food supply of these two cities was completely cut off, the Luo family's land reclamation in Qingshi Town, as well as food cultivation, he became more and more concerned about it. Apart from these things, of course, Luoan, the second eldest son of the Luo family, also organized caravans one after another, bringing countless gold and silver treasures with them. It seems that they want to exchange this for all the food that can be seen on the market. At first, the Luo family's behavior went smoothly. They successfully exchanged gold and silver for food on the market, and all the food was transported back to Qingshi Town quite smoothly. But, as time goes by, as the amount of food continues to decrease over time, the depreciation rate of gold and silver has begun to become faster and faster. From the initial 3 times, it gradually became 5 times, 8 times, and 10 times later, until now, you even pay 20 times, even 30 times, or 50 times the price. It is already difficult to buy food on the market. At this point, various actions of the Luo family accelerated. Gold and silver finally gradually lost their original economic benefits, not to mention other places, just Huaishui County, or even this Luoshan prefecture. Its economic level has regressed to a state of barter. No one is willing to accept materials in exchange for useless gold and silver. Qingshi Town, the land of the Luo family, in the courtyard where the ancestors of the Luo family lived, Luo Changfeng looked at a gold ingot in his hand that was shining with bursts of bright golden light. His expression couldn't help but be a little complicated. In the past, the depreciation of gold and silver had already been trending. However, gold and silver are, after all, an enduring economic system that has been passed down for countless years. Even if there is a slight depreciation, countless people still believe in the trading system based on gold and silver. But now, something is unexpected. The depreciation speed of gold and silver is actually so fast. Nowadays, even if you take out gold equal to the weight of grain, it is estimated that few people are willing to exchange grain with the same weight as gold in exchange for you. The food is at least edible. It can even save your life when it's important. But how much value does gold and silver have in this truly troubled world where human life is worth more than grass? It seems that I have to do some research on the rain-seeking talisman and the locust-repelling talisman among the special talismans. The purpose of praying for rain is to be prepared and to prevent the Huaihe River from drying up. After all, this gold and silver has gradually lost its original value. It is no longer impossible for the Huaihe River to dry up. As for the locust removal talisman, this is naturally to cope with the locust plague that follows the severe drought, even though there is no locust plague coming this year. Who can guarantee that there will be no locust plague next year, the year after, and the year after that? Even in the past few years, Luo Changfeng continued to add points and became the legendary Immortal. It has reached the stage where it can absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth and thereby resist grain, but his tribesmen always have to eat, right? It's impossible for every clan member in the Luo family to become an Immortal, right? Therefore, Huaishui County established the Luo family in Qingshi town, the Huaishui Wang Fengwentai, the grain merchant Tang family, and the Chen family, an established family. After these four major families got along with each other in a strange manner, the somewhat chaotic Huaishui County gradually became calmer. How is the situation with the Luo family in Qingshi town, Huaishui County, in the Tangjia city where the Tang family is located, in a mansion that looks extremely luxurious? The current head of the Tang family, Tang Huiping, was a bit fat and had a shiny face. At this time, he was sitting upright on a chair with some difficulty, holding a cup of hot tea in his hand. He asked a servant in front of him in a low voice while drinking the hot tea. "Master, after we cut off the food supply to Qingshi town and Huangqu town, the Luo family in Qingshi town started frantically searching for the remaining food on the market a few days ago. Now, as the remaining food on the market has been completely plundered, the Luo family will also lose all means of obtaining food." In a room filled with precious calligraphy and paintings, a servant in black was reporting this information with his head slightly lowered. Okay. After Tang Huiping heard these words, he nodded repeatedly and laughed. This Huaishui County should be divided into three parts of the world. Huaishui Wang Fengwentai should occupy a seat, the Chen family, an established family, should also occupy a seat, and his Tang family should also occupy a seat. Huaishui County is divided into three parts, divide and rule. This pattern has already been set. But that bullshit family, the Luo family, who came from nowhere, actually dreamed of carving out a world of their own in the already divided Huaishui County. Ridiculous, really extremely ridiculous. If it weren't for the fact that an ancestor with Zang refining realm cultivation emerged from the Naoyuo family, the Luo family should have died long ago. However, it's not a big problem. Even if the Luo family has the ancestor of the Zang refining realm sitting in charge, so what? Next, as long as the Tang family moves a finger, they will cut off all food supplies to Qingshi town and Huangqu town. The so-called Qingshi Zhenluo family will naturally collapse bit by bit under the huge pressure of food. During this period, the Tang family did not need to put any pressure on the Qingshi Zhenluo family. The Luo family will gradually disintegrate itself. This plan is a conspiracy. Even if the people from the Luo family in Qingshi town reacted, they were helpless. Could it be that he was forced into desperation? Will the Luo family directly attack the Tang family? Don't be stupid. The Luo family has Zang refining, and their Tang family also has Zang refining. A monk in the Zang refining realm cannot guarantee anything except that his family will not be destroyed by others. Chapter 77 Destiny. Lao Tang's family. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After Qingshi town and Huangqu town, these two cities were completely cut off from food supply. Soon, another 3 days passed. During these 3 days, the expansion of Qingshi town continued. The construction of a brand new city is also being worked overtime. There are still a large number of refugees pouring into this city every day. Although this is for the Luo family, it has increased a lot of burden, but equally, the influx of countless refugees has also increased the potential that can be tapped in Qingshi town. It has made a lot of contributions to the promotion of Qingshi town from the level of a small town to the level of a county town. At this time, it was noon. A scorching sun hung high in the sky. As winter gradually passes, the temperature on this land is increasing day by day. A few days ago, before the sun had fully risen, people can also feel the cold wind blowing on their faces. People shiver from time to time after the cold wind blows on their faces, but as time goes by, as winter gradually fades away, the people on this land can still feel a little cool except in the early morning. Most of the other times, it can be felt, apart from the torturous heat, there was no other feeling. Dad, is this Qingshe town? It seems to be no different from an ordinary county town. Qingshe town is under construction and has not yet been completely built outside the city wall. The young man looked at Qingshe town in front of him, a hint of disgust flashed through his eyes. Yes, the front is Qingshe town. The middle-aged man saw the city in front of him and the refugees around him who were constantly flowing towards Qingshe town. He couldn't help but sigh slightly, and a look of relaxation flashed in his eyes. Dad, you said back then that after the fall of the Gale dynasty, the world's fortunes should return to Luo. But in the Dafeng dynasty, there are so many families named Luo that they are countless. Why do you think this so-called Luo is the Luo family of Qingshe town? Instead of other families named Luo who are stronger than the Luo family of Qingshe town, that the young man with a pigtail tied behind his head looked at the city in front of him and then at the city wall that was being built. He swallowed, looking a little hesitant. However, after hesitating for a moment, he finally asked such a question to his father beside him. After the fall of the Gale dynasty, the fortune of the world should return to Luo. As the middle-aged man spoke, he couldn't help but shake his head. Actually, there is another sentence behind this, but I didn't tell you. What are you talking about? The young man turned his head curiously. The family surnamed Luo originated from Huai River. Before, I was still thinking about what this sentence meant. Is there any hidden meaning in it? As a result, I didn't expect that this sentence had only a superficial meaning. The young man with the black pigtails tied behind his head couldn't help but sigh again when he heard this. He looked at Qingshe town in front of him, and then at his father beside him. After a moment of silence, he asked again, Dad, is your hexagram accurate? Don't let me die in Qingshe town when the time comes. Except for you, I am the only one left in our Lao Tang family. If you accidentally make a mistake, our Lao Tang family will really be doomed. Stop talking nonsense. When the middle-aged man named Tang Jian heard this, he seemed a little unhappy. You don't even think about it, when will I be considered a miss? Believe me, it's true. Young man Tang Rong said, you still have the nerve to say this? How did the blind man Wang in the village die? How did Li Shuotsai die in the village? Brother Wu in the village, didn't he die tragically in Baihu Mountain just because he believed what you said? Accidents, these are all accidents. Tang Jian blushed and said angrily. Anyway, this time, believe me, it's definitely right. You are my son, how can I cheat you? Tang Rong shrugged and whispered, who knows, but no matter what, Tang Rong followed his father Tang Jian into this city called Qingshe town, although, his father is not very reliable in many cases, but at this important juncture, at this moment that concerns the life and death of their old Tang family, his father Tang Jian should be more accurate, right? Before entering the city, I didn't notice much. Upon entering Qingshe town, the atmosphere suddenly became a little different. Outside Qingshe town, Tang Jian walked all the way. Most of the atmosphere he could feel was deathly silence, despair, and numbness. He had never felt any life outside. However, since he entered this Qingshe town, he immediately felt something was different, not to mention anything else. Just look at the smiles on the faces of the people coming and going in Qingshe town, and deep in his eyes, there is a little longing for the future. This can already explain a lot of things. How's it going? Is Qingshe town okay? This time, my hexagram is finally correct, right? Tang Jian entered the city, and after walking for a while, he excitedly said to his son Tang Rong beside him. It's okay, I need to keep a closer look. Tang Rong curled his lips and whispered, anyway, it's not the end, who can say for sure, who will receive this destiny? After wandering around Qingshe town for a while, Tang Jian took Tang Rong again and walked towards the direction of the Luo family. Dad, do you really want to go to Luo's house? I thought you were joking before. After Tang worked out, Tang Rong, who had pigtails on his head, saw that his father seemed to be serious this time. He quickly stepped forward and tugged at the corner of his father Tang Jian's clothes. I told you, this time I brought you to Qingshe town for the delicious food and spicy food. Why, you don't believe me? Tang Rong frowned slightly and said in a low voice, based on your various unreliable behaviors over the years, I really don't believe it. Tang Jian looked at his son in front of him, and the corners of his mouth twitched slightly. Then, he whispered, "Anyway, just follow me closely this time. I will ensure that you live a good life." In the end, under a series of operations by Tang Jian, he finally entered the land of the Luo family. Actually, at the very beginning, the guard of the Luo family did not intend to let the father and son Tang Jian and Tang Rong enter the Luo family, whether it's from the way he wears it or the smell he exudes. At first glance, these two father and son did not look like people of high status, but helpless. That old boy Tang Jian is really good at deceiving. He immediately deceived the servant guarding the front door of Luo's house into lameness. Therefore, Tang Jian and Tang Rong walked into the Luo family so smoothly. Chapter 78 Half a Low-Grade Spiritual Stone. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After entering the Qingshi Zhenluo family land, Tang Jian and Tang Rong did not immediately meet Luo Ping, the head of the Luo family who was apparently in charge of the Luo family. Instead, he met Luo Ping's son, Luo Chuan, first, and the little maid Lu Qingqing who was following Luo Chuan. Fortunately, they only met once and didn't have too much contact. "Dad, what were you looking at just now?" "No, nothing." "Nothing else?" Tang Rong, who had pigtails tied behind his head, rolled his eyes at his father Tang Jian helplessly, and said in a low voice, "I saw the sneaky look in your eyes just now, don't even think about making excuses." "What? What's that sneaky look in your eyes?" Tang Jian was a little unhappy. He explained aloud, "I just think that there is something wrong with the little maid behind the young man." "Isn't that little maid pretty?" Tang Jian nodded subconsciously, but soon he shook his head. "You kid, don't interrupt suddenly. Let me just say this, the little maid following that boy is definitely not simple. I smelled a special smell on her body." "Special smell?" After hearing this, Tang Rong couldn't help but lowered his head slightly and thought, although, many times the father beside him is unreliable, but if the father beside him is reliable, it is indeed quite reliable. At least, his father can survive in this troubled world with a little baby like him. This is a proof of his father's ability, under the leadership of the Luo family servants. Soon, Tang Jian and Tang Rong met the person in charge of Luo Jiming. The current head of the Luo family is Luo Ping. I don't know what method Tang Jian used. After chatting with Luo Ping for a while, Luo Ping took the two of them and walked silently towards the courtyard where his ancestors lived. He hasn't entered Luo Changfeng's courtyard yet. Tang Jian couldn't help but stop moving forward. I saw that he narrowed his eyes slightly and looked towards the courtyard ahead that exuded bursts of ancient charm. In his slightly squinted eyes, bursts of light were flashing. "In front of you is the small courtyard where my ancestors of the Luo family lived. Brother Tang, didn't you say that you have something to discuss with my ancestor in detail?" Seeing Tang Jian suddenly froze on the spot, Luo Ping, who was leading the way, couldn't help but smile and remind him. "Yep." After Tang Jian came to his senses, he laughed, walked quickly towards the courtyard. In the courtyard where Luo Changfeng was, most of the time, Luo Changfeng was alone. However, something seems different this time, as the younger generation of the Luo family, Luo Qingshan, who has made the fastest progress in cultivation, actually stood silently beside the stone pavilion in the courtyard. He seemed to be chatting with Luo Changfeng. This young man. Seeing Luo Qingshan in front of him, Tang Jian couldn't help but froze in place again. His pupils suddenly shrank at this moment. This Luo family is really unusual. Before Tang Jian came to the Luo family, he thought he had sufficiently overestimated the Qingshi town Luo family, but I never thought about it. After all, the real situation of the Luo family was somewhat beyond his expectations. "Ancestor Changfeng, this person's name is Tang Jian. I said I have something important to discuss with you." After Luo Ping brought Tang Jian to Luo Changfeng, he lowered his head slightly and whispered with a respectful expression. Tang Jian. When Luo Changfeng heard this, he raised his head and glanced at the man next to him who looked a little embarrassed, but Tang Jian exuded an extraordinary aura. After a moment of silence, he asked in a low voice, "Why did you come to find me?" When Tang Jian heard this, he bent down slightly. "Lower your head as much as possible," he whispered to Luo Changfeng with a rather respectful expression. "I have a treasure to offer in exchange for my and my son's peace in Qingshi town." After saying that, Tang Jian took out half a transparent stone from his chest that looked like it had been chewed by a dog. This semi-transparent stone is somewhat unusual. As soon as I took it out, bursts of light flickered faintly, a slightly warm and refreshing breath seemed to gradually appear in the air. Is this thing a spiritual stone? He saw the half-piece of transparent gravel in Tang Jian's hand. Luo Changfeng's eyes couldn't help but narrow slightly. An idea suddenly appeared in his mind. Sir, this object is called a spirit stone, and its grade is low grade. This thing is generally owned by immortals. If ordinary people hold it, it can prolong their lives. It can also calm people's minds and improve their progress in cultivation. Tang Jian saw some confusion gradually appearing in the eyes of the people around him, so, he explained aloud. Lingshi. Luo Ping heard this, and then he explained in a low voice to Luo Changfeng, Ancestor Changfeng, I have also heard the name of Lingshi, and its effect is indeed as Tang Jian said. Ancestor Changfeng, if this thing is really a spiritual stone. The effects this person said should be true. Outside the courtyard, Luo Chuan couldn't help but silently walked into the courtyard after hearing what Tang Jian said. After Luo Changfeng listened to everyone's words, he also nodded silently. If this thing is really a spiritual stone, I, the Luo family, can guarantee you a healthy life in the Tang family in Qinshi town, so it won't be a big problem. As Luo Changfeng spoke, he stretched out his skinny right hand. He took half of the low-grade spiritual stone that Tang Jian was holding in his hands, which looked like it had been chewed by a dog, and played with it a little. If there's nothing else, you guys, please retreat. Luo Changfeng said in a low voice. Yes, Ancestor Changfeng. Luo Ping lowered his head slightly, and then led Tang Jian out of the courtyard. Luo Qingshan and Luo Chuan, however, he did not leave with Luo Ping, but still stood silently beside Luo Changfeng. This half of a low-grade spiritual stone is like a dog chewing, but it is quite interesting. After playing with it for a while, Luo Changfeng casually placed the half of the spirit stone on the stone table. The effect of the spirit stone is indeed as what Tang Jian said, keeping it on your body for a long time can indeed prolong your life, calm your mind and even speed up your cultivation, but, say so, its effect is so weak that it can be ignored. Of course, this is only for Luo Changfeng. If this spiritual stone is really given to an ordinary person to carry with him all the time, there is no problem in increasing the lifespan by 3 to 5 years. Do you want this thing? Luo Changfeng pointed to the half of the transparent spirit stone that looked like a dog gnawed on the stone table, and asked Luo Chuan beside him in a low voice. This half spirit stone is not of much use to me. If you give it to your third brother, it should be better than giving it to me. Luo Chuan looked at his side, and the figure gradually became stronger and stronger. The aura on his body gradually became more terrifying and unfathomable to his third brother Luo Qingshan. Luo Chuan smiled slightly and whispered. In that case, then give this half of the low-grade spiritual stone to Qingshan. Bring it with you so that you can at least relax and concentrate for a small amount of time. Although, the effect is a bit weak. As Luo Changfeng spoke, he handed half of the low-grade spirit stone on the stone table to Luo Qingshan beside him. Chapter 79 will be released tomorrow. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After writing it for a month, it is finally going to be published, and I have a little mixed emotions. I don't know how many people will subscribe. The young author is not very fast at coding, with a maximum of 2,000 words per hour. For Kevin, it may only be a little over 1,000 words per hour. The identity of the protagonist may not have been well chosen. In my imagination, the ancestor should be in charge of the family. He is the family's nuclear weapon and will not take action easily, therefore, it is impossible for the protagonist to be active on the front line all the time. As a result, some readers seem to think that the protagonist is a blood-sucking insect lying on the family. It can do nothing but suck blood. In fact, I can also write that all other things should be done by the protagonist, so that the protagonist can show more face. But if this is the case, new problems will arise. If this were the case, the Luo family would gradually become more like-minded. The family gathering gradually transformed into the protagonist's personal show, which obviously did not match my original idea, so that's all I can write. Okay, that's all the useless words. Let's talk about the situation after it was put on the shelves. There will definitely be more updates after it was put on the shelves than before it was put on the shelves. Young authors should try their best to update from 8,000 to 10,000 words a day, no more, and it really won't work. I can't do it. As for subscribing, readers, if you have the conditions, please subscribe. If possible, try to subscribe at Qilin. The young author's first release is at the starting point, only the background data at the starting point can be seen. Okay, that's it. The young author has to think carefully about the subsequent plot development. Chapter 80 Black Jade Qilin, Invisibility Talisman. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Successfully hooked up with the Luo family, after offering the half of a low-grade spiritual stone that was like a dog chewing, Tang Jian and Tang Rong, father and son, I finally left the Luo family, which was a bit stressful. Dad, how are you? Is it done? Outside the Luo family, on a busy street, until the two of them walked away, Tang Rong with pigtails tied behind his head, then he turned his head and looked expectantly at his father Tang Jian beside him. What can't be accomplished if your dad and I take action? Next, we just need to enjoy ourselves. Tang Jian's face was full of smiles, and he said with a rather proud expression. Then where shall we stay tonight? Don't tell me, we have to live in a tent. That's definitely not the case. Tang Jian shook his head, and then he walked in a certain direction. As he walked, he muttered, if I remember correctly, Luo Jieshang's house should be in this direction. Why can't I find it all of a sudden now? Could it be that I went the wrong way? After seeing his father's expression gradually becoming a little confused, Tang Rong shook his head helplessly and sighed. He knew very well that his father was starting to become unreliable again. How long has it been? Why did it become like this again? Qingshe Town, the land of the Luo family, in the courtyard where the ancestors of the Luo family lived, Luo Chuan and Luo Qingshan stayed in the yard for a while. The two of them left the yard one after another, back to where he should be. Middle stage of bone refining. This kid Luo Qingshan, his progress in cultivation is really a bit cruel. In just a short time, I have reached a small level. The meditation pill has been consumed to the tune of 7 to 88%. It seems that I have to refine some for that little guy again. That little girl Luo Yue seems to be running out of red flame pills. I have to refine some more to prepare. But, no matter what, you have to think of some other way. It's always suppressed with pills. What's the point? Luo Changfeng was a little scared. He was afraid that the elixir would one day lose its original effect, and if that time comes, the problem of these two little guys cannot be solved. The trouble would be huge. After what happened with Tang Jian, the days that followed gradually became calmer, the expansion of Qingshe Town and the construction of the city wall. These two things have gradually come to an end. The reclamation of farmland is going on every day, but the time for sowing has not yet come. Therefore, now the Luo family only arranges people to continuously increase the area of farmland. No substantial returns were obtained. As for the population of Qingshe Town and Huangqu Town, during this period of time, there was a crazy explosion. If we say that the number of people that could be increased every day before was 3,000 nowadays, the number of people that can be increased every day has reached at least 7,000, or even 8,000. Moreover, this number is still increasing on a daily basis. Qingshe Town, the land of the Luo family, in the room where the head of the Luo family is, as the current head of the Luo family, Luo Ping was sitting quietly on the throne, constantly handling various government affairs piled on the table. In the past, Luo Ping just felt a little physically tired from handling government affairs, but now, he handles government affairs. In addition to being physically exhausted, he was also extremely exhausted mentally. Since Qingshe Town, Huangqu Town, the food supply of these two cities was completely cut off. All the next food needs to be shipped from the Luo family. Luo Ping's mood gradually became worse and worse. As the number of refugees increases every day, it gradually changes from a few thousand at the beginning to a few thousand today. In fact, the number of refugees rising every day will gradually exceed 10,000. Luo Ping also gradually changed from being physically and mentally tired before to having a headache now. Food, this is a big issue. This is a problem that the Luo family has to solve. People say that food is the most important thing for people, whether it is to maintain the size of the army or to increase the power of the Luo family. The issue of food is an unavoidable problem. The head of the family, The head of the family. I have something important to discuss with you. Just when Luo Ping had a headache, the sound of rapid footsteps outside the room suddenly interrupted his meditation. I just heard the sound but didn't see the person. Luo Ping could then know that it was his third brother who came to see him. Luo Yong controls all the armies under the Luo family. In the past, Luo Yong's attitude was extremely rude when he came to see him, or, just call the boss directly, or, just call him Luo Ping directly, and now, this guy Luo Yong actually calls him the head of the family so politely. There is a problem, absolutely. So, after some time thinking, Luo Ping made a somewhat humiliating decision, that is to run away quickly. Straight up yo-yo, let's hide from that idiot Luo Yong first, and we'll talk about other things later. Master of the house. That it didn't take long for Luo Ping to run away. Luo Yong ran directly into the room where Luo Ping specialized in handling government affairs. It's just that what he can see now, except for the government affairs piled up as high as hills one after another, then nothing else can be seen. Where are the people? Luo Yong looked at the empty place and couldn't help but touch his head in confusion. However, since I can't find anyone, he had no choice but to leave the Luo family for the time being and return to the military camp outside Qingshi town. After Luo Yong left, Luo Ping stayed in a corner for about half an hour. He then returned to the room dedicated to handling government affairs. Someone is coming. Sitting quietly on the throne, Luo Ping whispered to the Luo family servants guarding outside the room. Master, what are your orders? The servant heard the call and trotted into the room. He lowered his head slightly and asked respectfully. Do you know why that guy from Luo Yong came to look for me? The servant lowered his head slightly, and after pondering for a moment, he gave an answer. The general came to look for the master, most likely because of the 50 black jade unicorns whose strength is comparable to the skin refining realm to the bone refining realm. Black jade unicorn. Hearing this title, Luo Ping was slightly stunned at first, but soon, he came back to his senses. Isn't Qilin one of the 3 great horses of the Gale dynasty? To say it is a divine horse might be an exaggeration, but if there are too many of them, we can find some practitioners whose strength matches the black jade Qilin to form a cavalry. It is said that such a cavalry is a heavenly weapon. If a god blocks it, it will kill a god. If a Buddha blocks it, it will kill a Buddha. That's really, no exaggeration at all, not to mention a cavalry composed of millions or hundreds of thousands of black jade unicorns. It only takes 100,000, or even 50,000, as long as the Gale dynasty has 50,000 cavalry composed of black jade unicorns, the Gale dynasty will not be as passive as it is now. In fact, the dynasty collapsed directly. As you said, what happened to the 50 black jade unicorns? After Luo Ping was silent for a moment, he quickly asked the servant in front of him in a low voice. A foreign caravan is bringing these 50 black jade unicorns to Huaishui County in exchange for food. At this time, the people from that caravan seem to have started to come into contact with the people from the Tang family. Caravan? Tang family? Hearing this, Luo Ping couldn't help but fell into silence for a while. However, it was only a moment later, Luo Ping came to his senses again. He waved his hand and dismissed the servants in front of him. Alone, sitting silently on that main seat, Black Jade Unicorn. This is one of the 3 famous horses in the Gale dynasty, possessing an extremely docile character. Once you recognize your master, you will never betray him for the rest of your life. Moreover, in the dark night, the whole body of this divine horse will be as beautiful as black jade. Therefore, it was named Qilin. Of course, beautiful appearance is just one of the countless advantages of Qilin. One of the most fascinating things is, this black jade unicorn has extremely outstanding potential. An ordinary black jade unicorn can easily reach the realm of skin refining. Those with higher potential can achieve bone refining. Some of the rarest horses have grown to the limit, and can even reach the state of internal refining. If it is a divine horse in the Zang refining realm, it will be paired with a Zang refining realm monk. The combat effectiveness can easily be raised to another level. It is not a problem to kill the cultivators beyond the level. If so, you are really invincible. Riding on the sacred horse of the Zang refining realm, you can easily get rid of the practitioners of the same realm. When the time comes, it will really be your horse that is not as fast as mine. Who doesn't want a black jade unicorn? But our Luo family really doesn't have this ability. Luo Ping sighed helplessly. He could only continue to shift his attention to the government affairs on the table. there are still many things that need to be dealt with by him. As the current head of the Luo family, he is also the controller of Qingshi town and Huangqu town, but there can be no slacking off. In the blink of an eye, another day passed. During this day, Luo Ping spent most of his time in his room handling government affairs. Luoan is busy developing the family industry, although the economic system based on gold and silver has gradually collapsed, but as gold and silver gradually depreciated, they even completely lost their original economic benefits. A new economic system was also born, that is food stamps directly linked to food. There are as many food stamps as there are grains. Moreover, this so-called food stamp is a brand new currency jointly launched by several large grain merchants. At first, people were unwilling to believe this kind of thing. After all, I have food in my hands and no panic in my heart. But as time went by, with the complete collapse of the economic system based on gold and silver, transactions between items gradually became more complex and cumbersome. This so-called food stamp gradually appeared in the public eye. In addition, those grain merchants do have countless grains in their hands. Over time, food stamps gradually began to occupy the market. It became a new economic system that replaced gold and silver. The number of food stamps is directly linked to the grain, a place to exchange food stamps. It is uniformly called grain number. Qingshi town and Huangqu town, these two cities are located on the side of the Huai River, and they are not very remote places. Therefore, after food stamps gradually occupied the market, grain accounts that could be exchanged for food stamps gradually settled in Qingshi town and Huangqu town. Qingshi town, the land of the Luo family. In the room where the head of the Luo family is, Luo Ping was still sitting on the main seat at this time, dealing with the tedious affairs. Big brother, big brother. Brother, I have something important to tell you in detail. The sound of rapid footsteps gradually came from a distance. The familiar calling voice gradually penetrated into Luo Ping's ears. However, there is something different from yesterday. Yesterday Luo Ping had a chance to hide. But today, it seemed that he was too late. Before he could get up, Luo Yong had already entered this room. Brother, there is something very important that I want to tell you in detail. You want to say, those 50 black jade unicorns? How do you know? Luo Yong raised his eyebrows slightly, his expression seemed a little surprised. Do you want to buy those 50 black jade unicorns? This is natural. Luo Yong nodded repeatedly, and then said with some excitement, if those 50 black jade unicorns were captured by our Luo family, the comprehensive strength of our Luo family will definitely improve a lot. I know everything you said. Luo Ping looked at Luo Yong in front of him. He hesitated to speak. Anyway, don't think about those 50 black jade unicorns. Nowadays, gold and silver have infinitely depreciated in value. That caravan also named them and said they would only exchange food. Under such circumstances, even the king of Huaishui and the Qin family, an established family, do not have the ability to covet the 50 black jade unicorns. How can our Luo family capture it? After chatting with Luo Yong in detail for some time, Luo Yong reluctantly left the room and returned to the military camp outside Qingshi town, and it is located in the courtyard of the Luo family, where Luo Changfeng is located. When Luo Changfeng learned about this matter, he couldn't help but fell into deep thought. Black Jade Unicorn. One of the 3 great horses in the Gale dynasty. This is good stuff. In the courtyard, under the stone pavilion, Luo Changfeng narrowed his eyes slightly while thinking. However, that caravan directly said that they would only exchange food. I don't want anything else except food. This made Luo Changfeng feel a little difficult to handle. Is it really just a matter of exchange for food? Can the elixir work? Luo Changfeng thought for a while, but then shook his head. If he takes out the elixir, he should most likely be able to exchange it for the 50 black jade unicorns. But if the Luo family really got those 50 black jade unicorns in exchange, the next situation for the Luo family may become even more difficult. First of all, the Tang family, a large grain merchant in Huaishui County, would keep a close eye on the Luo family. The hatred towards the Luo family will also soar directly. After all, the Luo family interfered with the Tang family's matter. It would be strange if the Tang family didn't hate the Luo family. In addition to the Tang family, there is also the Huaishui king and the Qin family, an established family. Whether it was because of Mou Qilin or to suppress the Qingshi Zhenlua family, he would definitely choose to take action. At that time, the three parties targeted one Luo family, even if the Luo family would not fall because of Luo Changfeng's existence. But at least, in Zhulu Tianxia, it is difficult for the Luo family to continue. Therefore, even if he wanted to intercept these 50 black jade unicorns from the Tang family's hands, it must not be known to other forces. If this is the case, it seems that the only way is to use that method. That's the method. It's a little disgraceful. Luo Changfeng thought silently in his heart. After this period of research on the talisman, Luo Changfeng's understanding of talismans has become deeper and deeper. If he remembered correctly, there were countless special talismans. There is a kind of talisman called the Invisibility Talisman. The invisibility charm has strange effects. After use, it seems to be able to take advantage of the refraction of light and the masking of the breath. This makes a person seem to have completely disappeared from this world. However, it is the same as other talismans. The invisibility time of the invisibility charm is not only limited by the material, it also depends on how much power of heaven and earth the talisman can steal. The more you steal, the longer you will be invisible. The less you steal, the shorter your stealth time will be. Basically, it depends on luck. Try making it. From now on, if we move faster, we should be able to catch up. Thinking of this, Luo Changfeng immediately started to execute it. I saw him picking up a writing brush on the stone table. After a little preparation, I entered the mental state of making talismans. He began to write and make talismans. The state of the talisman is very strange. When making talismans, you seem to be you and yet you don't seem to be you. It was as if something possessed him. And with the help of his hands, he drew mysterious talismans that could steal the power of heaven and earth. Done. As time gradually came into the night, a bright and graceful circle hangs high in the sky. The surrounding temperature gradually became slightly cooler. Luo Changfeng finally completed the production of the first invisibility talisman. I just don't know how much power of heaven and earth this talisman has stolen, and how long it can remain invisible. Luo Changfeng casually picked up the talisman on the stone table, used the power of qi and blood to pour it into the talisman. After activating the mysterious power contained in this talisman, his whole person suddenly disappeared under this stone pavilion. The breath was indeed completely covered up. It was as if no one had ever appeared. Luo Changfeng stretched out his hands and looked at them. He even waved it in front of his eyes. However, what he saw was nothing else except the still things in front of him. His body seemed to have merged into this void. This invisibility charm seems interesting. Luo Changfeng stood up and left the yard, dazzled in front of many tribesmen. After about 10 minutes, he returned to his yard. It's not that he doesn't want to continue wandering outside, but the duration of this invisibility charm can only provide him with invisibility for about 10 minutes.